So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K24 Next Gen. And in today's video, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Last season, Minnesota was in the play-in. They ended up making the playoffs as an 8 seed. Now, they lost the eventual champion Denver Nuggets in 5 games. And overall-wise, the series really never got out of hand for Denver. But this Minnesota Timberwolves team is in a pretty interesting position. They have a young superstar in Anthony Edwards, 22 years old. I mean, the sky is the limit for the kid. Face of the franchise, they're obviously going to build around him moving forward. We look back a little bit, and the Rudy Gobert trade is maybe one that they regret a little bit. Obviously gave up a lot of draft capital to go ahead and get him in Utah. At this point in time, is probably looking like the winner of that deal. So our goal today is to maybe make some changes around this franchise and hopefully bring Minnesota a championship. We're going to talk about this team and go over the roster in just a second. But before we do, as always, if you guys are new around here, not yet subscribed to the channel, hit that sub button. We'd love to have you here in this wonderful community we've built. And on top of that, I know you guys always have video ideas for me. Let me keep hearing them down below in the comment section. At this point in time, I'll just read you guys off the list. After this Minnesota Timberwolves rebuild, we actually only have 7 rebuilds left to do. 4 Eastern Conference teams. Those teams are the 76ers, the Pacers, the Wizards, and the Hornets. And then we take a look at the West. It's the Pelicans, the Rockets, and the Spurs. So every other team I have already done. Just go back on my channel. You'll find all the rebuilds. Let me know which one of those teams you want me to do next, though. So without further ado, man, Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's get into it. Let's quickly go ahead and go over this Minnesota Timberwolves roster. Obviously, there's some good and there's some bad, a little bit of ugly. So let's just dive into it. Starting out at the point guard spot, Mike Conley is 36 years old. He's a 79 overall, and he is on an expiring contract. He's not going to be a long-term point guard option for me. And quite honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Minnesota looks to move on, because it makes sense. I mean, this championship window that is arguably not yet open for Minnesota will probably not include a 36-year-old Mike Conley. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's a likely situation. Shake Milton is here. He's on a 2-year, $10 million deal. He's definitely a serviceable backup. Then Jordan McLaughlin here as well. Probably not so much from McLaughlin at only a 73. But we will see. The shooting guard spot, Anthony Edwards. He's the best player on this team. There's no arguing that. Some people put him in superstar status already. Some people think he'll get there this season, next year, whatever it may be. The kid's a star. I mean, it's the simple way to say it. I mean, I love Anthony Edwards. He's just such an entertaining player to watch, and I really, really hope he can kind of take Minnesota to that next level next year. So excited to see him. He's not going anywhere. Nickeil Alexander-Walker and then Trevor Keels here as well. The small forward spot, Jaden McDaniels is likely going to get a fat contract extension this offseason, or maybe during the season, whatever it may be. He's 23 at an 81 overall. Our goal is to really see, can he be a starter on a championship caliber team? We'll find out. Troy Brown Jr. is here. Wendell Moore Jr. again. These are decent backups. They're not great, so we're going to have to figure that one out throughout the course of this video. Karl-Anthony Towns felt like his name's been in trade rumors for quite some time now. And honestly, I don't know, because $260 million is what's remaining on the contract of Karl-Anthony Towns, and him and Rudy Gobert are a very, very awkward fit. I don't necessarily love it. I don't think Minnesota thought it's going to work out the way it actually did. And yeah, I mean, we're going to figure it out. I don't know. Kyle Anderson is here. He's a pretty decent veteran backup, kind of stretch 4, if you will. Leonard Miller was a second-round pick in this past year's draft in the center spot, obviously dating back to the Rudy Gobert trade with the Utah Jazz. Hasn't probably worked out the way they thought it would. So, I mean, Rudy Gobert is no bum. He's still a very solid center. And yeah, I mean, I just think there are a lot of guys for a lot cheaper price tags that I'd probably rather have. This Naz Reid extension is beautiful. I mean, this is just perfect contract. I'm super high on Naz Reid, like I know many people are. He honestly, there's an argument maybe I could even start him. I don't know. But we might have 1 or 2 trades. Let's get into those. We're going to have some conversations here with the Charlotte Hornets and see their level of willingness to potentially trade me Terry Rozier. Now, Terry Rozier is only an 80 overall. Technically, it's only 1 overall higher than Mike Conley, but he's younger and he's on a multi-year deal. I would definitely like to make this trade. So, how about it? Nope, they want Shake Milton for Nick Richards. I don't really need another center, but that is a very, very nice contract that Nick Richards is on. I also really don't want to give up Shake Milton because I don't want to be mean, but I just don't know if Jordan McLaughlin can cut it. I'm going to say no to that for now. How about if I just give a couple second-round picks? Again, I don't have a lot of draft assets, and oh my God, that's all it took. All right, that felt like a home run kind of first deal right there. We might have one or two more coming. Our final trade is going to be coming with the Houston Rockets, and here's how it looks. Jordan McLaughlin and Troy Brown Jr. heading over to Houston. Jayshawn Tate, and we're also picking up Boban. Obviously, he'd be a great locker room guy and all stuff like that. But Jayshawn Tate is a 3 overall upgrade over Troy Brown Jr. Again, he doesn't have the contract that Troy Brown Jr. has at multi-years. It is what it is. I think he's an upgrade. And it's only a 3-year age difference. So I'm happy with that trade. It feels like a kind of a good, solidified backup small forward for me to back up Jaden McDaniels here. And other than that, I don't really see much coming. I'm happy we kept Shake Milton. He's going to be backing up Scary Terry, who, funny enough, actually goes down in overall when you move him to point guard, even though might be more of a traditional point guard. I don't know. That's it, though. I think that's all set in terms of kind of the major trades we're going to be doing. I don't see anything else too crazy coming. I am going to send Leonard Miller down to the G League for year 1. Maybe get a little bit of development down there. I don't know. But other than that, let's set the rotation. We are ready to kick off year 1 here in Minnesota. We have finalized this lineup, and honestly, I'm very interested to see how this team kind of fits and kind of plays together. So Terry Rozier, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. It's obviously not a terrible starting 5. I think the bench could use a little bit of TLC come off-season time, but overall-wise, it's definitely a pretty good starting 5. The bench unit, it's very rare that I do this. Naz Reid's going to be my 6th man. I don't like big men as 6th man. You guys all know that, but in a situation like this where the 2 highest overalls are both big men, kind of makes the most sense to do it that way. So Naz Reid will be our 6th man off the bench, followed by Kyle Anderson, Shake Milton, Jayshawn Tate, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So again, this was a play-in team last year. Obviously ended up as the 8th seed. We made a couple changes, but nothing too major that you would really expect this team to be much better than they were last year. So excited. I know Anthony Edwards obviously has developed a little bit up to an 88 overall. Hoping he can go a little bit higher even. So I'm excited. I'll see you guys at the end of year 1. The first season here in Minnesota is officially over. We went 40-42. It's not a crazy record on really either end of the spectrum. It's somewhere around I kind of expected to be. So we'll see. Some big decisions coming this offseason. Nikola Jokic, 3rd MVP. I'm going to go through these, I say it every video, fast because they're the same goddamn awards for the same people every single time. So let's take a look. You can see we're actually there in the play-in right now. We'll take a full look at the standings right here. We technically are the 8th seed, and again, it's really not a good spot to be in because although we have some really nice young promising talent like Anthony Edwards, I hate being in the middle. You want to either be on either end of the spectrum. You do not want to be really good, or excuse me, you do not want to either be in the middle. You either want to be really good or you want to be really bad. I hate teams that are in the middle. And a perfect example of this is a team like the Chicago Bulls, who although they won 50 games here in 2K, I think we all know that's probably not going to be the case in real life. So I'm happy that we do have some young talent like Anthony Edwards, and that's definitely a really good spot to kind of build around. And yeah, I'm just happy about that. Him and Karl Anthony Towns, Terry Rozier looks like he was a really solid pickup. Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, Shake Milton, Anderson, Tate, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Rebounds was Gobert, and assists was Scary Terry. So we do have Denver here in the play-in. Why Denver's in the play-in, I have no idea. But yeah, let's just sim through the game and see what ends up happening. We lose, which means we are going to be taking on the winner of this one. So who's it going to? Yes, the winner. Okay. Holy shit. All right, it's us against the Thunder here. Obviously, they're young and still kind of up and coming. And yeah, I mean, let's just sim through it real quick. We end up winning. So we are in the playoffs. We are going to be taking on the Los Angeles Lakers, who are 1 seed. D'Lo, Austin Reeves, LeBron, Jared Vanderbilt, AD, got Christian Wood off the bench, Rui Hachimura, Robert Covington's a new addition. Let's see what happens here in round 1 of the Western Conference playoffs. We go down 2-0 pretty quick. We actually do win Game 3 on our home floor, and Game 4. All right. And Game 5. And Game 6. That's a surprise to say the least. All right. Moving on to the New Orleans Pelicans here. Western Conference semifinals. CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Jonas Valanciunas. They got Trey Murphy off the bench, Jose Alvarado, Larry Nance Jr. Again, Pelicans are good if they can be healthy. And obviously, I don't play with injuries on. We're down 2-1 at this point in time. We go down 3-1. And that is all she wrote for us. We get bounced in the second round of the Western Conference playoffs after probably pulling off a pretty big upset in round 1 against the Lakers. Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat go on to win it all. Happy to see Jimmy get a ring, even though I'm a Celtics fan. It is what it is. All right, off-season number 1. Obviously, some big decisions are going to be made right now, and we have to kind of decide the fate of some of the players on this team, whether they're going to stay with us or they're going to have to be finding some new homes. So draft lottery, I think we actually do have our first-round pick this year. It's obviously not going to be in the lottery, but I believe we do actually have our first-round pick. Yes, we do. It's at number 15 right there. Not terrible. Number 15 overall is definitely not nothing. So Chris Finch. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't fuck with these ratings. I don't. I'm gonna move on. I think we need the best coach available. I'll take a break from getting Stauffer. I know some people got upset when I did it the other day. Honestly, Jacob Underwood's ratings are not that different. Taylor Jenkins is here. Not terrible. I mean, yeah. I mean the ratings on Underwood are not that different than Finch. He has an extra star in offense, but the defense is the same. Yeah, sue me. It's a Stauffer day. I haven't gotten him in a while, so I'll take a break after this, but it's a Stauffer day. I know I said I was not going to do it, but I changed my mind. And yeah, now we're up to the draft. We have the 15th overall pick, and as you can see, in terms of future assets, there's not much going on here. So that is definitely going to be something we have to keep an eye on. Number 15 overall is a decent pick, but we're not going to get a star there or anything like that. So some decisions to be made definitely, especially when you look at the state of some of these contracts. So let's find a move. We are not going to be using our draft pick. We are going to be making a big trade here with the New York Knicks. We're going to be sending Karl-Anthony Towns and number 15 overall to New York for Jalen Brunson and Devontae Graham. Now, obviously, Jalen Brunson is going to be an upgrade on the point guard spot. And again, and not going to sit here and say Karl-Anthony Towns played bad for us, because I think that would be unfair. I don't really think that would be a fair assessment of the season that we just saw Karl-Anthony Towns have. But when I sit back and I look at kind of the big picture of everything and kind of what this team needs, I don't need two centers in the same starting lineup. That makes absolutely no sense. I'm going to go ahead and move on from Karl-Anthony Towns because his trade value is a little bit higher. We're also giving up number 15 overall, and we're getting a really good player in Jalen Brunson. So I'm making the move. He's 4 overalls higher. He's 1 year younger. And overall-wise, the price tag is a crazy difference. I mean, $25 million compared to basically 50. This feels like a home run deal. Also, I know the New York Knicks actually, maybe, I don't know, are apparently reported to have some interest in Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, obviously, the deal wouldn't be for Jalen Brunson, but it is what it is. Welcome to the team, Jalen Brunson. I'm very excited to have him here. Him and Anthony Edwards in the same backcourt is going to be very, very fun. So that does mean Terry Rozier is definitely a guy we could maybe move on from now. Again, he did his job. He played very well for us, but there is kind of a gaping hole at that power forward spot now. So we're definitely not done with deals. I think in terms of draft picks, we're probably just going to skip the draft entirely. I'm not going to try to trade into the draft. Jayshawn Tate's coming back. Wendell Moore Jr. is coming back. At the minimum, we can get some draft picks for these guys. And obviously a very big free agent coming up here in Jaden McDaniels. So how much is he asking for? Because that's definitely something I do want to keep an eye on. About $17 million. It's not too bad, and wow, we actually lock him in at that price. So I wouldn't mind maybe bringing back Kyle Anderson. He's not necessarily a terrible backup big. He is 30, which again, that's kind of the age where some 2K regression can hit, but I'm not terribly worried about that. So Jaden McDaniels is going to be coming back. Very excited to have him here, and then if I can get Kyle Anderson back, that would definitely be nice. So let's lock in Kyle Anderson on a 2-year deal. Hopefully he accepts that, and yeah, we definitely have some more trades coming. Perhaps a bit of a controversial move, but a move that I'm going to make nonetheless. We're going to be pulling off a blockbuster here with Denver, sending them Rudy Gobert, Leonard Miller, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker for Michael Porter Jr. and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Now, obviously, this kind of leaves, I guess, maybe the void at the center spot, but it goes ahead and allows us to start Naz Reid, kind of what I wanted to do throughout the entirety of this video anyway. So Naz Reid's going to take over the center spot, Michael Porter Jr. coming in, KCP coming in. And yeah, I mean, obviously now we have to decide who we want to play at the 4, whether it's Michael Porter Jr. or Jaden McDaniels. I mean, again, I don't know what's going to happen to either of their overalls. 1 goes down for MPJ and 2 for McDaniels. So MPJ is going to be taking over at the power forward spot. Maybe a little bit more of a modern kind of body for a power forward in today's NBA, more of a stretch 4 than a traditional, maybe big-bodied power forward that can't really stretch the floor as much. So excited to have him here. And, yeah, McDaniels will still start. And it means Terry Rozier is, yeah, we're going to have to decide something there. Because, I mean, we still have some options here. Obviously, Brunson's going to be our starting point guard, and Edwards here at the 2. Maybe we go ahead and make a trade with Terry Rozier and have him come off the, or excuse me, trade for a center. Or maybe we have him come off the bench. I haven't decided yet. We're about to make a very risky trade, and I don't know if I really like it, but it's one that I think is going to help us. We're going to be picking up Bradley Beal here from the Phoenix Suns. We're going to be sending them Terry Rozier and newly acquired Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Now, obviously, you're probably sitting there asking me, where the hell are you playing Bradley Beal? I'm going to play him at the 2. Edwards is going to slide to the 3, and then McDaniels is going to come off the bench. I don't know if I love the idea of Jaden McDaniels coming off the bench, but I think it's probably not really going to change too much. Now, obviously, this would be entirely different in real life, and this is probably never a trade I make if this was actual real life, but here in 2K, I think it's going to help us out. I know Bradley Beal is going to go down a couple overalls. It's just the way 2K works, but he's coming off a year of 25.5 points. I think that's more than appealing for me to trade for him, especially when I'm getting a draft pick. I didn't even have to give up a draft pick. So McDaniels is going to be backing up Edwards, likely our new 6th man. Means Jayshawn Tate is now kind of expendable. Anderson will be backing up MPJ. We do need to find ourselves a new backup center. And yeah, a new backup shooting guard. And here's what the deal's going to be. It's going to be coming with the Brooklyn Nets. We're sending them Devontae Graham, Jayshawn Tate, and that first-round pick we just got in the Bradley Beal trade for Cameron Thomas and Deron Sharp. Cam Thomas coming off a year of 17.5 points. Now, I don't necessarily expect him to do that here for us, but that overall should go up at only $22 22 years old, and he'll definitely be a spark plug for us off the bench. Deron Sharp, quite honestly, didn't really play last year for Brooklyn, but at a 74 overall and still relatively young, I think the deal makes sense for me. So taking a look at this roster right now, Shake Milton will remain behind Jalen Brunson. Obviously, Cam Thomas is going to be the bracket backup to Bradley Beal. We still have Wendell Moore Jr. and Josh Minott sitting down here, and quite honestly, I don't think either of them are going to play. So I don't know what sort of draft picks or anything I can get for either of these two guys, but obviously we've had a relatively kind of crazy offseason right now. That's a great deal for me. Yeah, I mean, there's just some decisions to be made moving forward. I do not need John Conchar. Thank you very much, San Antonio. I will see you guys at the start of year 2. We had an absolutely crazy offseason here in Minnesota. We went ahead and really kind of changed the identity of this team. We made some really major trades. And overall wise, I'm just really excited to see how this new team kind of fits together. So Jalen Brunson and Bradley Beal in a backcourt. It's a very interesting kind of new dynamic from what we had last year. Bradley Beal can obviously score the ball at an elite level. Jalen Brunson is just very, very good overall. We see a little bit of regression here from Beal. I knew it was coming. I fully expected it. I still expect him to be around 20 points a game. I do. Anthony Edwards up to a 91 overall, now moves from the 2 to the 3. Michael Porter Jr., newly acquired, is going to be our 4. And then Naz Reid finally taking over that starting center spot. So very excited to see how that works out for us. I do feel bad for Jaden McDaniels kind of getting slid to the bench. He did get paid, though. He's going to be really effective for us coming off the bench. Newly acquired Cam Thomas, Kyle Anderson, Shake Milton, and Deron Sharp. So I like it. I think this team's in a really good spot, a much better one than what we had in the year previously. And overall-wise, I expect to be a pretty much a contender this year. So I'll see you guys at the end of year 2. Year 2 is over. Year 2 is over, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. It was not as good as I thought it was going to be. We won 44 games. Obviously, that's an improvement from last year by 4 games, but I think we made too many moves for this team not to be nearly as good as I thought it was going to. So disappointing nonetheless. We'll assess some things this offseason. SGA is your MVP, Isaiah Collier, Rookie of the Year. Karl Anthony Towns, 6th Man of the Year in New York. Giannis is your DPOY. Josh Giddey, Most Improved. Kate Cunningham, Clutch Player of the Year. JB Bickerstaff, Coach of the Year. So, I mean, again, it's a weird spot to be in because it really feels like the talent is here. Maybe it's just not a good fit of a team, though. Maybe there's just too many guys that can score the basketball, and maybe that's the problem. I mean, I think there's a strong argument. Maybe it is, and that's on me for not realizing that. So I'll assess this offseason. In terms of the standings, we are a 7 seed here, so we are going to be in the play-in and potentially in the playoffs if we do win our round 1 matchup or round 2. So Portland here, let's take a look at their squad. Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simon, Shaden Sharp, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton. You got Brogdon off the bench, Robert Williams, Jordan Clarkson. All right, let's sim through this game real quick, see what ends up happening. We win, so we are in the playoffs. We're a 7 seed. We pulled off a round 1 upset last year. Can we do it again? We got the Warriors, Steph Curry, Devin Vassell. How the hell is he in Golden State now? John Collins is here. Draymond, okay. Looks like they moved on from Klay Thompson. Yeah, no, that Golden State Warriors team is still very, very good. So we're down 2-1 right now. They're down 3-1. Okay, we're fighting back a little bit, and that's all she wrote. So out of the playoffs in round 1 in year 2. That's pretty much not acceptable for kind of the way I go about my videos, and there will definitely be some decisions made this offseason. So player retirements, LeBron calls it a career. He ended up playing a year with Victor Wembanyama. That's fucking insane to think about. Staff retirements, Hall of Fame inductees, jersey retirements, and then draft lottery, which again, we obviously aren't going to have a lottery pick, but even if our pick was in the lottery, I don't think we have it anyway. So let's sim through this real quick. And yeah, staff signing. I mean, you quite literally cannot get a better head coach. So I would put the blame on Mike Stauffer, but it actually cannot be his fault. So let's head up to the draft. We actually do have number 19. It's from the Portland Trailblazers. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with this, but definitely something. We're making a trade here with Utah. It's going to be picking up Lauri Markkanen. Now, obviously, this isn't, the premier defender maybe I was kind of thinking about, but Lauri Markkanen is 4 years younger, he's cheaper, and he's 2 overalls higher. So, also getting a little bit more size back in the starting lineup might not be the worst thing in the world. So, obviously, it means Anthony Edwards is just going to slide back down to the shooting guard spot. And that's a deal I think we kind of had to make. Bradley Beal wasn't necessarily a bad player for us. I just think it was a bad fit. So that's on me. That's a mistake that I made, and it's one that I will own. And hopefully it's not going to cost us a championship because I do think this team is very good, and I'm hoping that we can get one before this video ends. So very excited to see Anthony Edwards kind of back at his more natural position, and I think Lauri Markkanen is going to be a good pickup for us. So obviously that means we just traded away pretty much a lot of our draft picks, or well, 2 of them anyways. But I'm excited. We're going to head up to team player options right now. Brunson and Naz Reid, both free agents. Obviously, our starting point guard and our starting center are both guys I'd like to get back, along with our backup shooting guard and our backup center. So I'm not really going to risk it. Looks like there's a kind of a fake offer here from the Kings. Cam Thomas, that's a qualifying, and Sharp, that's a qualifying. So, yeah, I'm not going to play any games. I want to get Jalen Brunson back. I want to get Naz Reid back, and I think that's probably the smartest thing to do. And, yeah, I'm going to give Cam Thomas a contract as well. I'll give Sharp one day after this. Shake Milton is gone. I think I would like to look for an upgrade there anyways. That's kind of fine by me. So let's go ahead and bring back Duron Sharp as well. And moving forward, we're going to have to make some pretty big decisions on personnel. I mean, whether or not we think the core of this team can kind of get it done. Because obviously we went ahead and made a move and acquired Lauri Markkanen, and I think that's no small trade. But obviously some of the other players are still here. So at this point in time, there could maybe be one more trade. I think maybe an upgrade in our front court might not be the worst idea in the world. Maybe somebody who's a little bit less ball reliant than Michael Porter Jr., potentially maybe an upgrade over Naz Reid. I haven't 100% decided, but I think one upgrade there could really help this team a lot. This is a deal I'm hesitant to make, but it's one that I'm going to make, and I know how crazy it looks right off the rip. We're going to be picking up Aaron Gordon. We're going to be trading back for Rudy Gobert, sending out Michael Porter Jr., Isaiah Hartenstein, and Kyle Anderson. Now, hear me out on my kind of logic for this one. I'm really doing this trade to get Aaron Gordon. I think he's a much better fit than Michael Porter Jr. is. Now, obviously, Michael Porter Jr. is 2 years younger. He's one overall lower. It's not that big of a deal. Hartenstein was never going to stay here. I have Duron Sharp. He's my backup center. And I think Kyle Anderson was probably gone anyways because I knew he was going to regress. So, really, I'm doing this deal just to get Aaron Gordon. Rudy Gobert is just going to be flipped immediately. And overall-wise, I think that's a much better fit than what Michael Porter Jr. was for this team. So maybe there's an argument I even keep Rudy Gobert. I don't really think there is one, but I think maybe moving on, potentially finding a new backup power forward would be the smartest thing to do, or point guard, whatever we can really find for Rudy Gobert. So I'm just going to glance. If I see anything here, like Anthony Black he really hasn't played at all. I don't know what the best kind of route here is. It honestly might be Anthony Black. I mean, maybe keeping Rudy Gobert, but he'll probably be like an 81 overall to start next year. I'm looking at either point guard or power forward. I would not mind necessarily getting Jeremy Grant, but would it hurt to give up Cam Thomas too much? Would it? I mean, we also got to keep in mind, Jeremy Grant's no young buck himself. I mean, he's 2 years younger than Gobert, and he's not exactly on my favorite contract in the world, but it is the final year. So it kind of comes down to, would I be comfortable enough giving up Cam Thomas for Jordan Clarkson? Kind of doing a swap there. I don't know. There's a 10-year age difference, and that's not something small that you kind of just ignore heading into a hopeful championship season. I'm pretty hesitant to do that. I'm not going to lie. Or do I just make a trade for Anthony Black, who really hasn't played at all yet and really hasn't shown anything? I mean, there's an argument for both. I think there is. I'm going to take the risk and make the deal here with Portland. I don't necessarily want to trade Cam Thomas, but I think that deal is going to help us. I think Jeremy Grant's going to be a pretty valuable member to this team. And I don't know. Maybe that's the wrong decision. We also have Jordan Clarkson, who's probably going to go down a few overalls, but it is what it is heading into a final year. So any other players here that I could sign? Like, let me be a little cheesy scumbag. Sign Jose Alvarado. And then, honestly, if I can't find an upgrade, why do we still have a cap hold for Shake Milton? If I can't find an upgrade, then it is what it is. I'll go with Jose Alvarado heading into the final year. I saw Io there. I just don't know if he's a big enough upgrade in terms of what I'm looking for. Yeah, nope, not seeing anything. All right, I'll see you guys at the start of year 3. So we're making a trade here with the Memphis Grizzlies, and it's not exactly for the reason that you think it is. Yes, I'd love to have Terrence Mann here. I'm doing this trade for one simple reason, because I think I can combine Terrence Mann and Kenny Lofton Jr. and get a better package than Jose Alvarado, Kizzy Okpala, and a first. So I'm going to now combine both of these players and see what my options are in terms of trades moving forward. Kenny Lofton and then another first-round draft pick. Are there any point guards here that are just a little bit of a higher overall than what I was seeing before? And the answer appears to be no at this point in time. I mean, Bronny James is here in his rookie season. Is this his rookie year? Yeah, it would be. Kira Lewis Jr., 13 points a game is actually not that bad. I might go back to that. Jalen Noel. These guys are making, what, $6 million combined? 6.5? I'm just going to look and see what my options are, because I do have a few draft picks left that maybe I could look to include in a trade. I don't know exactly kind of what they would get me. Andrew Nembhard would definitely be welcome. The problem is he's only making $2 million. I'm assuming you probably can't take on. No, you can't. How about if I just give you 3 first-round picks? Can we call it a day? Okay, cool. Let's set the rotation. After another failed regular season last year, we are back. We have made some major changes. We have 2 new starters here on this team and almost a new bench. So very excited to see how it works out here for our final season in Minnesota. Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Lauri Markkanen, Aaron Gordon, and Naz Reid. Not the greatest starting 5 I've ever had, but I think it hopefully should be good enough. I think there's a lot of really good pieces, and I like this fit a lot better than I liked the fit last year. Jaden McDaniels, going to be our 6th man off the bench once again. Newly acquired Andrew Nembhard, newly acquired Jeremy Grant, Duron Sharp, and Jordan Clarkson. off the bench. So again, it hurts seeing some guys like Cam Thomas from last year no longer here, replacing him with Jordan Clarkson, who's now only playing 10 minutes a night. But at the end of the day, in all reality, Anthony Edwards is, you know, a superstar. He's going to be playing the majority of the shooting guard minutes anyways. And then for those of you asking why am I not making an upgrade at the center spot, one, I don't think Naz Reid is overall is being kind of treated fairly. I think he should be higher than an 80 overall at this point in time in the game. And second, he's playing well. I mean, 13 and 12 and a half and 9 and a half. That's exactly what I was kind of hoping for from him. So he's playing well. I'll see you guys at the end of the third and final season. The final regular season is over, and I'm happy to say it was a success. 65-17 on the year, by far our best record yet. We are hoping for by far our biggest playoff success yet. SGA is your MVP. Ian Jackson, Amen Thompson, Evan Mobley, Zachary Rizicher, Steph Curry. Mike Stauffer does win a Coach of the Year. So obviously it's great. I think this team, as I previously mentioned, just really kind of fits together much better than the team last year did. And again, that's not a shot at any of the guys that were here last year. I think it's on me. I just didn't really kind of put everybody in the right spot. So excited for the final year here, nonetheless, the final playoff run, and hopefully the first championship. So it's going to be us and the Warriors here in round one. Not the easiest first round matchup, but yeah, I'm excited for the challenge. So we we win game 1 and game 2. We win game 3, and we win game 4. Beautiful. We swept the Warriors. Moving on to the Sacramento Kings, a team we've not seen yet, but a pretty good team nonetheless. Fox, Monk, Nesmith, Murray, Sabonis. They have Clint Capella off the bench for whatever reason. Kevin Huerter there as well. It's a pretty solid 7-man playoff rotation. So what happens here? We go up 2-1 after dropping game 1, make that 3-1, make that 4-1. All right, Western Conference Finals, us and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I say it every video, every time I face the Thunder. They always let Josh Giddey go. Why? I have no fucking idea, but he's not here. But the rest of the Thunder are, and they're still very, very good. We're 1-1 with them right now. We go up 2-1, up 3-1, 3-2, 3-3. Just describe this fucking video to me in a goddamn sentence. I mean, that's just... What the fuck? What the hell? Oh my... Can you imagine Kyrie on this Hornets team? Good Lord. All right, man. That stings. It's we didn't get there, and honestly, maybe I made some decisions that you know what, I probably shouldn't have made. I mean, maybe it was a mistake trading both Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns. I still think that I would take Jalen Brunson over Karl-Anthony Towns any day of the week, and I don't know. I thought the team was good enough. I was wrong, and that's my mistake. But I show you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly in terms of the rebuilds too. So you guys will be seeing this one, and my apologies to you Timberwolves fans. I thought we had a good enough team. We did not. I was mistaken. So hopefully you guys still enjoyed. If you did, click the like down below. That'd obviously be awesome. And yeah, man, as I mentioned, we have 7 teams left. Let me know which one you want me to do in tomorrow's video. So that is it for me. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.